Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this video lecture about Kinshasa music crossroads. So it's basically a historical overview of musical exchange in Congo. Music in Kinshasa has been through waves of musical influences in addition to many other outcomes of culture meetings. As center of trade, people from different parts of the world gathered there to carry out different activities not limited to trade. Ever since Kinshasa became the capital city in 1966, formerly Leopoldville, it has had a very vibrant music scene which can be traced in the diaspora. So in this video lecture, drawing upon iconography, period commentaries, audiovisual, modern analytical discussions and descriptions, I will argue that the best way to understand the nature of Congo Kinshasa music is to examine the interplay between indigenous African traditions, Western popular music, and other global influences between the 16th and 19th century. Within these intersections, we shall see shifts in soundscape, how it interplayed with these interactions, plus how it influenced and was influenced by the diaspora. I will pay special attention to rumba and soukous music because in my view the two genres are a good representation of the Kinshasa soundscape. So to give a little background, Congo Kinshasa is mainly made up of Bantu speakers, including the Mongo, the Congo, and the Luba. Among the non-Bantu speakers are Sudanese groups of the northern part. Bantu, Sudanic, and other migrants from West and Northeastern Africa arrived in the Congo River Basin between 2000 BC and AD 500. The territory that is now the Democratic Republic of Congo is extremely diverse, with more than 200 ethnic groups that trace their histories to many communal organizations and kingdoms. European prospectors in the Congo Basin invaded and splitted these kingdoms in the late 1800s, sponsored by King Leopoldville II of Belgium, and the kingdoms were eventually forced to grant Leopoldville the rights to the Congo territory as his private property. So according to the World Factbook, during this period, known as the Congo Free State, the king's private colonial military forced the local population to produce rubber. From 1885 to 1908, millions of Congolese people died as a result of disease, inhuman treatment, and exploitation. International condemnation finally forced Leopold to cede the land to the state of Belgium, creating the Belgian War. Yeah, that's according to the World Factbook. The Republic of Congo gained its independence from Belgium in 1960, but its early years were ruined by instability. Still, according to the World Factbook, Colonel Joseph Mobutu seized power and declared himself president in a 1965 coup. He subsequently changed his name from Mobutu Sese Seko and the country's name to Zaire. In 2001, Kabila was assassinated and his son Joseph Kabila was named head of state. Yeah, that's still according to the World Factbook. Kinshasa is a town that covers 9,965 square kilometers, and it stretches along the southern shores of the Pool Malebo on Congo River. It is the capital and largest city of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Kinshasa is a Lingala word that means salt city. Formerly known as Leopoldville, it was founded and named by Henry Morton Stanley in 1881 in honor of King Leopold II of Belgium, who controlled the vast majority of the vast territory known as the Congo Free State. He mapped out trade routes across the Congo River that could aid access to raw materials. He assigned territories with many Congolese chiefs to hand over sovereignty. Saul Leo in 2008 writes that Stanley saw enormous opportunities in the Congo for profit. In the welcome he received from the Congolese, he imagined great riches. Stanley systematically detailed the precious woods, ivory, and minerals. It may be presumed that there are about 200,000 elephants in about 15,000 herds in the Congo basin, each carrying, let us say, an average of 50 lbs weight of ivory on its head, which would represent when collected and sold in Europe 5 million euros. Yeah. So when we go to the geography and climate of Kinshasa, Kinshasa is a very strategically located town along the Congo River, spreading out southward from shoreline of Congo River at Malebo Pool, a widening of the river. The built area of Kinshasa is divided into industrial, residential, and commercial zones. Along the western edge of the central city, an industrial area before 1966 called Leo West flourishes near the site of the first depot established by the British American explorer Sir Henry Morton Stanley. To its east lies the riverside residential and administrative district of Gombe, which houses most of the European population and the Congolese elites. The central government buildings and embassy buildings are located there. The eastern sector, known before 1966 as Leo Est, of which the wide boulevard du 30 Juin forms the main artery, is a major commercial area. The waterfront across Kinshasa's northern edge is lined with quays and large warehouses. Ndolo, east of Gombe, comprises a complex of port facilities and industrial plants. The poorer areas extend southward on the south and west of Kinshasa. Among Kinshasa's satellite cities, Njili to the southeast has become a residential area, while Kipoko upstream has been developed as an outer port. During the 1970s, wealthy businessmen and politicians built mansions, often of spectacular opulence, in Binza, an area in the western hills overlooking the city. So the surrounding countryside is heavily farmed savanna and gallery forest. The chief crops are cassava, sugarcane, oil palms, plantain, corn, maize, peanuts, which is groundnuts, and beans. The climate is hot year around, with a dry season from May to September and a rainy season from October to May. Because Kinshasa is the capital city, it is highly industrialized with mining industries, particularly mining and exporting cobalt and copper. Other manufacturing companies include Masavco SA, All Park Industries and Angel Cosmetics are in the center of the town, which is Gombe in Kinshasa. Trust Match Bank, located in the heart of the city. Food processing is a major industry, and construction and other service industries also play a significant role in the economy. As a country, Congo has numerous natural mineral deposits in different parts of the country, including diamonds, gold, copper, cobalt, zinc, and coltan. Rubber and ivory were some of the most sought for cash crops. Following William Dunlop's invention of bicycle tires made from rubber in 1890, much of the so-called unoccupied land was gathered by King Leopold, and many natives were forced to work on huge plantations that were made on this land. The mining industry has been a cornerstone for the Congolese economy since the colonial times. Historically, the mining industry accounted for 25% of Congo's GDP and about 3/4 of total export revenue. In the late 1980s and in recent years, the country was the largest global producer of cobalt and one of the largest of industrial diamond and copper. Uranium from DRC was used at the Manhattan Project in the US to build the first nuclear bomb. So when we go to the culture and pre-colonial musical traditions, because Kinshasa is highly economic-based town, I'd like to argue that it is a center of cultural exchange where many cultures meet and share values. Congo is made up of different cultures such as the Bantu and Pygmies. There are over 242 languages spoken in the country, which could perhaps represent the different culture groups. There are very many migrants from neighboring countries such as Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda in search for refuge from political insurgencies such as the Rwanda genocide. So according to the World Fact Book, those you can see there are demographics of the different religions and beliefs. So the major languages spoken in Kinshasa include French, which is the official language, Lingala, Swahili, Congo, Shiluba, among others. The different cultures in Congo had their own traditional music, which was used to accompany ceremonies, to accompany dances in communal and religious celebrations. It was orally transmitted and used instruments such as ngoma, mbira, nsasi, mpugu, kasuto, kwilondo, among others. These can, however, be seen in some of the imagery depictions of the early missionaries, such as from Portuguese missionary Giovanni Antonio Cavazzi's evangelizing travels in the 1650s and 1660s, as you can see here on the slide. So there is another depiction of the Congo and the founding of its free state. This is a depiction by Henry Morton Stanley. We also have another depiction of a funeral dance by Cavazzi. And it was published in around 1887. It's showing a funeral dance. So when we go to the music influences and traces, Congo-Kinshasa music has influenced and has been influenced by music from different parts of the world. Because of this, it has been shaped and has shaped music in the diaspora. With introduction of Western music instruments such as the guitar, the advent of colonialism coupled up with its social and economic effects account for the shape and sound of Kinshasa music. Slave trade parted people from their places of origin, but their cultural values traveled with them. Slaves from West and Central Africa used to gather at the Congo Square in New Orleans, as depicted in the 19th century illustration of the Bombola by Edward Kemble. So Eric in 2019 says, "Here freed and enslaved slaves and enslaved people from Africa of African descent gathered on Sunday and shared their varied music traditions, typically centering on the rhythm sounds of the drums and captured in the steps of the dances." So Donaldson in 1984 says, "Certainly, New Orleans jazz and the music at Congo Square both had similar origins in black rhythms and in the black musical heritage that originated in Africa. And it cannot be denied that the music of Congo Square perpetuated the music style." Bill Alexander, a Belgian working for CEFA, introduced the electric guitar to the Congo in the 1950s. Until today, the guitar plays a very big role in Congolese music and has shaped popular genres such as rumba and soukous. Kazi Wamakuna in 1992 notes how the concentration of West Africans brought changes to social and musical activities in Kinshasa. Urbanization that took place between 1930 to 1960s greatly influenced Kinshasa music. Installation of radio stations in the 1940s, which played and spread the music, did a great job as well. Introduction of brass bands in the 1940s greatly changed the music scene. Building of the railway line between Kinshasa and Matandi in 1889 employed people from different parts of the world like West Africa, which equally shaped Kinshasa music as the workers recreated music from their places of origin as a source of entertainment. So Kazi Wamakuna in 1992 writes, "Musically, the period from 1945 to the end of the 1950s is of vital importance to the present discussion. Musical practices were shared between West African and Zairian musicians, while new elements of Latin America were introduced in the process of innovation and creation of the Zairian urban musical expression." So when we go to repertoires, the repertoires in DRC, Kinshasa's music scene and soundscape has evolved through a blend of traditional African rhythms, colonial influences, and contemporary trends. Rumba music genre, for example, was brought to Congo by former slaves from Cuba. Soukous, another popular genre, is characterized by dominant use of guitar, which was brought in by the Europeans. French and Swahili languages are highly utilized in Congo music, and it came in because of colonialism. Other European influences include harmony and constant utilization of hip-hop, jazz, and blues music characteristics. Under the patron of the city's elites, Kinshasa's music scene has flourished since the 1960s. The music scene of Kinshasa has also made a significant impact on popular culture. Artists like Franco Luambo Makidi, Siran Beza, Legrand Calais, Nico Casada, Tabule Rochero, Mbiria Bell, Madilo System, Papa Noel Nedule, Vicky Longomba, Awilo Longomba, Pepe Kale, Kanda Bongoman, Niboma Mwandindo, General Defao, Papa Wemba, Kofi Olomide, Wera Son, Abeti Masikini, Lokua Kwanza, Fali Upa, and Fer Gola have played a key role in popularizing Congolese music on the international stage, infusing their compositions with Kinshasa's pulsating rhythms and infectious energy. Yeah, those are just some of the musicians. And so when we go to rumba music emerged around mid 20th century in the present day Kinshasa, with roots in the Bakongo partner dance called Maringa. Cuba's son bands were of great influence and played a big role in the transformation of Maringa to rumba across 1920s to 1940s. During the maritime era, as people were taken from different parts of the world to the Americas as slaves, they traveled with their cultures and later came up with Creole cultures, hence Creole music. So Garrett in 1966 says, in Latin America, among the combinations springing from this fusion of African and European dance forms were the Beguine, the rumba, the conga, and habanera. The first of these originated in Martinique. The last three are Afro-Spanish. The rumba was first performed among Cuban Negroes as a rural dance depicting simple farm chores. The rumba was first performed among Cuban Negroes as a rural dance depicting simple farm chores. The conga and the newer mambo originated among the Congo Negroes of Cuba. So as slave ships made rounds, rumba music managed to seep into the Congo through port cities like Kinshasa, thanks to the development of recording technology. Sailors traveled with records that played music, which was later incorporated in the Kinshasa music scene. So there is another quote by White talking about when Congolese talk about the history of Congolese popular music, a history that invariably evokes a great sense of pride. They usually refer to three primary sources of musical inspiration: Western music. This includes church music as well as European romantic ballads and ballroom traditions. Traditional music from different types of African folklore and ritual-inspired performance, and Afro-Cuban music. So on grounds of music growth, White accrues the prominence of the guitar, the importance of cleve rhythm, and the emergence of two-part song structure. One that in many ways resembles Afro-Cuban son montuno progression from a slow lyrical introduction to an improvised solo section to the presence of Afro-Cuban music to Congolese rumba style. Some examples of artists who pioneered rumba in Congo Kinshasa include Camille Ferruzi, Jean Bosco Mwenda, Franco, and TPOK, George Mozebo, Joseph the Grand Kale, Kabasele, among others. So we're also going to talk about soukous music. Soukous comes from a French word souka, that means to shake. It is a genre of dance music that originated from African rumba music of the Belgian Congo to the French Congo around the 1960s and gained popularity throughout Africa. It is characterized by faster dance rhythms and bright, intricate guitar improvisation. Rumba sound generated or inspired many musicians. As many grew into the style, they started diversifying into other styles, hence the development of soukous music. Young Congolese musicians sought to speed up the slow tempo of Congolese rumba, also to cater for the fast dances. A replication of the lukembe, the tampiano, sounds and rhythms was a great musical contribution to the development of soukous music. Construction of the Matandi Kinshasa Railway is movement of musicians to and from the city centers. Those are pictures of people dancing to soukous. And to your right is Papa Wemba and Kofi Olomide, who are major figures in soukous music, and they were performing in 1988. So around the late 1960s and early 70s, many musicians moved to Belgium and Paris during President Mobutu Sese Seko regime. His regime's ideology, authenticité, led many musicians into coming up with nationalistic music in favor of the ideology, which was highly appreciated internally at the time. Many unemployed youths gravitated towards music as the soukous music scene had become a honeypot. Very many of these picked up the guitar, started and joined bands. Music groups such as Bamina Orchestra started touring Europe, and many became rooted there in search for better opportunities. They did recordings in Belgium, France, and other European countries, pushing forward the style. Some artists later decided to remain in the diaspora due to political insurgencies in Congo later in the 1970s. Due to its popularity, soukous spread to neighboring countries such as Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, and up north to West Africa. So Chris in 1987 says Zairian music has also spread widely through Africa. The early acoustic musicians like Bosco were well known. Records like Masanga exciting listeners from Zambia to Sierra Leone and across to Kenya, where local acoustic guitarists adopted the Congolese guitar style. Yeah, that is Fosu Mensah and Lucy Chris. So concluding this video lecture, music is a resilient part of culture, and it is easily retainable in many kinds of situations. Before the digital era, music still found a way to move as people moved to different places in the world. Kinshasa's music has not only shaped the soundscape of Africa, but has also had a profound impact on global music. It is a powerful force that continues to inspire and unite people around the world. Besides music, this presentation has run parallels with other fields of study such as geography, iconography, visual arts, among others, because it draws from them. Thank you very much.